Morning everyone. So just back from my run today, and I thought I'd just have a little bit of a chat to you about releasing calf, foot and ankle because mine are really tight. I don't know about anybody else, but doing the little bit of faster stuff at the weekend, I started off this morning and I thought, oh, I've done something different. And so I knew that, you know, I'd worked a bit harder and, you know, all the little muscles around my sort of feet and ankles were all quite tight and stiff. So I thought, you know, if mine are tight and stiff, most people's probably are. Just, you know, a little word about training at the moment. I think I'm hoping everybody's benefiting from just taking the foot off the gas a little bit. You know, making your runs more enjoyable, not quite so intense. And actually being able to just get that consistency, because the most important part of training is consistency. You know, you could take your interval session, which would be the icing on the cake, but if you can run consistently, and hopefully most of you have managed to run consistently over the last sort of 6 to 8 weeks of lockdown. In fact, you'll actually come out of this probably fitter than if you train hard for 2 weeks, then you're injured and then you have to have a week off. And actually, you know, if you can stay consistent, it's actually the key. I think racing is going to be very, very different. I can't see us getting back to normal racing this year. And I've actually really enjoyed some of the virtual races that the club's put on. I've done the 1 mile and the 3K so far. And actually, for those that don't really like racing and it's a bit of pressure and it's a bit of stress getting to the start line and getting your number and all those things, this was great fun. Andy and I just ran. We ran out for 1.5 miles and then we just ran back hard as we could. And actually, it's something different and it's something new, and have a go. Especially, you know, some of the sort of ladies from the running club. I know there's not been quite so many sort of have a go, but it doesn't matter how fast it is. You're not racing against anybody else. It's just a little bit of fun just to lighten up your training a bit. So anyway, calf and ankles. Just remember, I've got a little ruler here. Okay, if you want to check if your calf's tight, do the knee to wall test. Okay, put your toe on the ruler somewhere, okay, and then bend it and just see how far you are from the wall on one side and the other. And if you do that once a week, that's your point of reference. Okay, it's actually really, really important. I'm sure most people do the standard calf stretches, which are long lever stretch to get your gastrocnemius, the big muscle. You bend the knee to get the soleus, and then you put the toes on a step or a wall to get the deeper muscles. So that's your standard sort of calf work. So how can we take that a little bit further? Okay, so remembering, you know, if we sort of go back to what I've talked about a lot before, what's the cause? And is there something a bit higher up causing your calves and ankles to be a bit tight? Now I know I'm really, really tight round my sort of tibia onto my foot. So these sort of the muscles that lift the foot up, the toe extensors, and a lot of those sort of attach to the fibula. So I thought, let's just have a little feel of the head of the fibula. So the head of the fibula is this little bony bit that just comes down below the knee, okay? And just have a little feel. Put your legs out straight. There we go. And just see what's that joint like on each side. Not too bad, you know, a little bit of movement. Now it's just worth, if that's a little bit stiff, a bit stiffer on my right than my left, it's worth then sort of thinking, right, what's going on higher up? Because your IT band goes down into that head of fibula. If your glutes and your TFL are a little bit tight, or your back's a bit tight, it can just be making, you know, the fibula a little bit stiff. Your nerve comes down around it. So if your sciatic nerve's a bit stiff, then, you know, all these things can be contributing. And if your fibula's not moving at one end, then your foot can't move and dorsiflex properly at the other end, because it has to come up, it has to work both ends, it has to rotate and slide up and out to actually give you that nice dorsiflexion. So, you know, we're looking at what's going on at both ends. So if we just a quick recap, remember, okay, just go back, a little bit of lower back work, just release that back off, because it's quite likely that that's a bit tight and that's sending the chain down. So do your rotation. Okay, and then let's just stretch that glute out and see what that feels like, because remember, that's affecting that lateral chain down to the fibula. So we'll just pull that glute in and we'll just hold it there. And you can hold it for, you know, 20 to 30 seconds. Okay, try the other side. That's it. Oh, I see it much tighter on that side with me. okay? And you can then put your leg in the air and just think, right, you know, what's the tension like if I move my foot up and down? Okay, and if it feels really tight down the back of that leg, all you've done is add the nerve on the stretch. So it's quite likely that that's holding some tension into your lower leg. And then do the other side, a bit tighter on that side for me. And just do 10 a couple of times, just to get things moving down that leg. And then, you know, obviously what we've talked about is, you know, if it's the IT band, so we just got to just check, right, oh, what's my hip feeling like? Okay, oh, a bit tight in there, okay? So just do a little bit of work. You know, you don't lean backwards, you just hold it still, keep your tummy working, and just take that stretch forward. And think, right, okay, that's released the front of that hip a bit better. And then come back and think, okay, a bit tighter that side. And, you know, so then you can go back and you think, right, what are those fibulas like? Well, actually, you know, they're actually a little bit freer now. So that's, you know, that's quite good. You can sort of think, right, okay, all your little muscles that go to the front of the feet. I've heard a few people mention they've got a bit of tendinitis, the toe extensors and the tibia. So, you know, you've got that fleshy bit of muscle around there. You can put your thumb on it and you can just move your foot up and down. And I can feel, you know, that is a little bit tight. You know, just do a little bit of release, you know. Anyone got one of those new massage guns? I haven't tried one of those yet. I like to feel what's going on. But if anybody's got one, let me know how you're finding it, see what it's like. There we go. So we'll just work down there. Just, you know, just release that a little bit. And then the same on this one. So I just go forwards and you can see what I'm doing. So big fleshy bit here. Don't go onto the bone, but just think, right, that fleshy bit. There you go. Let's just move my foot up and down just while I release. And it's, you know, in there, a little bit tight. Just making sure that tightness doesn't build up on the extensors. And then I don't find this a problem at all, but a lot of people find it really, really difficult to sit back on the feet. And if you're really tight at the front of the shins, you might find that is another really good stretch. If you're brave, you could have a little go at just foam roller in that shin, but you just got to be really careful that you're not on that bony bit, because actually it's a bit sore. So I don't find that mega effective. But we can then go back into our calves and think, right, get that foam roller sinking into those calves. And if you just wiggle your feet a little bit, that's just quite a nice release. Okay, what you don't do is you don't foam roll onto your Achilles tendon, because obviously it's going to be quite sore, and you know, tendons don't like compression anyway. So, you know, make sure you're in that fleshy bit of the calf. I can probably squeeze one in higher up. There we go. Okay, right, now if we go down to the foot, what we want to do is just see, there's some dirty leg, what that sort of ankle's doing. So, you know, when you just try bending the foot over the ankle and just have a feel of the ankle joint and just think, gosh, okay, is that moving? So actually mine's moving quite nicely and it's gliding. You know, you can just use your hand and just sort of glide it and just help it glide a little bit. That's it. So we're just getting a little bit of accessory movement into that ankle joint. Okay, and what you might find is as you go forward, your arch just lifts up a bit and it just blocks. So if you just put your thumb just gently onto your navicular there, then you can just make sure you're just getting that mobility through there. And then you can add your big toe. So you can put your thumb on your navicular, lift your big toe, keep the dorsiflexion, just see if you can get that big toe moving a bit. See, that one's quite stiff for me, so that's where I've got a little bit of stiffness coming in. And if I just let everything move, can you see how my foot's compensating and cheating and just lifting up? So actually, if I just fix it there, then I get much better movement. Well, I get much less movement, but I get much better mobilisation of that big toe. Okay, you see that? Okay, so let's try that with that foot and just see. Okay, so what we want to do first of all is just Can we see that? I think so. Making sure we've got it in the screen, okay? So just glide that joint a little bit, make sure it's sinking backwards, really nice, okay? And then just make sure that navicular arch is just staying in that neutral position and not lifting up, and then just mobilise that big toe a bit. Okay, cool. All right, and then don't forget you can release into those muscles then that go down to the big toe, because quite often we get tight. You know, those who've got sore shins, you know, it's always worth once a week just getting in there and thinking, right, let's make sure these muscles are loose. And just release them a little bit. There we go. And the same with that one. Okay, and get hold of your foot and just move it a bit. You know, get your thumb down through those all those little muscles into your feet, or you can just put your foot over a tennis ball, that's just as good. And just stretch out those toes, you know. They've been working really hard, you know, just a little bit of release just in between for those little muscles in between. Just, you know, it's actually really nice. That's it. That's it. And just release that foot a little bit as well. And just get into there. Okay? So, you know, my feet and ankle feel much freer now. Feel much happier. Okay? So, if everything's starting to feel a little bit tight, just have a little go.